When we think of the founding of this great place called UNH, we tend to think of Benjamin Thompson, a frugal farmer who left his rich farmland to what would become New Hampshire's flagship public university. His gift was literally the foundation of the University of New Hampshire. But there is another important founder making another kind of foundation possible: the Hubbard family. Over the years, the Hubbard brothers and their families established powerful endowments for student scholarships, cutting-edge research initiatives, and science centers.
Hubbard's interest in education made the University of New Hampshire a natural. They've all experienced an education there. It's a public university. This is a family who have had the experience over many decades to be able to work with the president of the university to really see the horizon long before others see it, and to help the university get to places where most people don't even aspire to be. And that's really the legacy of the Hubbard family.
The UNH had given them the tools to begin to develop this brand, really a scientific powerhouse, and that they owed a lot to UNH. And that's why I think that they came forward so many times for UNH in so many ways.
Their collective generosity has raised the visibility of UNH to a national and international level. The Hubbard Center for Genome Studies, the Hubbard Professor of Genomics, the Oliver J. Hubbard Fund for Sustainable Living Education, the Oliver J. Hubbard Fund for Biological Sciences, the Austin and Winona Hubbard Endowment Scholarship Fund, the Leslie S. Hubbard Marine Program Endowment, the Iola Hubbard Climate Change Endowment. The list goes on and on. The Hubbard family's gifts represent the cornerstones and pillars of private support for the University of New Hampshire, and their gifts represent foresight. It's as if they were seers on how our culture would shift to focus on sustainability, climate change, genomics. They were ahead of their time.
Each one of them have been able to see particular opportunities at a particular moment in time when a gift of small size or grand size can not only provide an example for others, but it can put into place an institution or a piece of the institution that moves it to a new place. This is really strategic philanthropy, as I call it.
Their story begins in Walpole, New Hampshire in the early 1900s. Ira Hubbard ran a general produce farm with the help of his first three sons, Oliver, Austin, and Leslie. All would become proud alums of UNH. In 1914, Ira decided to raise some chickens. And so they bought 2 cases of fertilized eggs, and the brothers hatched them in a small incubator in the family's cellar. From those first hatchlings, the Hubbards would go on to make raising poultry a viable means of support for families throughout the Northeast and eventually around the world. There was, however, one important step along the way: the University of New Hampshire and the help of Professor A.W. Red Richardson.
So Professor Richardson encouraged Oliver to go into the poultry business and do some genetic selection.
And they brought the lessons from the University of New Hampshire back to Walpole and put them to work on the family farm. They developed a strain of birds that were resistant to a scourge, a disease that affected chickens and caused enormous problems, difficulties in poultry production up to that point.
And that was where the Hubbard farm's reputation really soared by having genetically pure or genetically selected chicks that were able to withstand these diseases. And over the years they built their flock, but also built their reputation.
Their flock was so healthy that during the Great Depression, the Hubbards helped ease the worry of New Hampshire families by making family-run hen and broiler operations possible.
They really fostered the development of a very, very vibrant poultry industry in New Hampshire. They developed the New Hampshire Red. They developed a number of other strains of birds that became tremendously productive, and they really set the pace for the genetic advancement that has made poultry production an enormous engine in the global food system. They made chicken affordable for everybody. That had tremendous implications all over the world as we exported the genetics that the Hubbards developed. They had an enormous role.
Today, many of the broiler stock can be traced genetically to Walpole, New Hampshire, and it's quite wonderful to think about that.
The consistent thread weaving through the rich history of the Hubbard family is their deep belief in making life better, whether for New Hampshire families struggling through the Depression, helping to feed the hungry around the world, or their alma mater. They are making possible enormous aspirations.
I can't think of any people who have come from New Hampshire who have had a greater impact on the people of the world than the Hubbards.
I call it dusting for fingerprints. When you dust for the Hubbard family fingerprints, you find it all over multiple generations of helping to make this fragile world a better place.
It is no wonder then that the University of New Hampshire named its highest award in honor of those who gave so much to so many.